The autumn rain fell relentlessly on the cobblestone streets of Lyon, France, where the Rhone River wound through the city like a vein of forgotten secrets. The air was thick with the scent of damp stone and roasting chestnuts from street vendors huddled under striped awnings. I, Antoine Moreau, had lived here all my life, in a modest apartment overlooking the Fourvière Hill, where the ancient Roman theater stood as a silent witness to human folly. My family traced its roots back to the silk weavers of the 19th century, a legacy of intricate patterns and hidden threads that mirrored the tangled web of our lives. My wife, Elise, was the light of my world, or so I thought. We met at university in Paris, drawn together by shared dreams of a quiet life away from the chaos of the capital. She with her flowing auburn hair and eyes like the stormy Atlantic, me with my steadfast demeanor forged in the shadow of my father's rigid expectations. My father, Henri, a retired banker from a long line of conservative Alsatians, had instilled in me the value of loyalty above all. "Family is the fortress," he would say, his voice gravelly from years of Gauloise cigarettes. But fortresses crumble, and ours began to crack when Elise started working late at the art gallery in Vieux-Lyon. It was subtle at first, the lingering scent of unfamiliar cologne on her scarf, the way her phone buzzed at odd hours, her eyes darting away when I asked about her day. I dismissed it as paranoia, a remnant of my mother's abandonment when I was 10. She had left for a lover in Marseille, leaving behind a trail of shattered porcelain and my father's broken spirit. Generational trauma, the therapists called it. But to me, it was a curse that whispered doubts in the quiet hours. My best friend Luc was the anchor in this storm. We had grown up together in the same quartier, sharing scraped knees from football matches on the Place Bellecour, and later, pints of beer in smoky brasseries. Luc was the charismatic one, a photojournalist who chased stories across Europe from the migrant crises in Calais to the protests in Athens. He had no family of his own, orphaned young, and I became his brother in all but blood. "Antoine, you're too serious," he'd tease, clapping me on the back. "Life's a river, let it flow." But rivers can drown you. The betrayal unfolded like a slow poison. One evening in October, as golden leaves clung to the plane trees along the Saône, I found a crumpled note in Elise's coat pocket. "Meet me at the cafe by the bridge. Can't wait." P. My heart plummeted. Pierre, I realized with a sickening twist. Pierre Duval, the gallery owner, a slick Parisian transplant with a penchant for expensive wines and married women. I confronted her that night, the rain lashing against our windows like accusations. "It's nothing," she lied, her voice trembling. But her eyes betrayed her, flickering with guilt and defiance. We argued until dawn, words sharp as the guillotière knives. She confessed partially, an emotional affair, she called it, born from my neglect. My long hours at the accounting firm, my obsession with providing for our future child that never came. Infertility had been our silent war, another layer of family pain. But I knew it was more, the way she touched her neck when lying. A habit from her Provençal upbringing where lavender fields hid family scandals. Luc knew before I did. He had seen them together at a gallery opening, Pierre's hand on the small of her back. Loyal to a fault, he confronted Pierre privately, warning him off. "She's my friend's wife," Luc growled over espresso in a hidden courtyard cafe. Pierre laughed it off, but Luc persisted, digging into Pierre's past. He discovered Pierre's history of affairs, even a hushed-up scandal in Bordeaux involving a suicide. A former lover's husband. Luc threatened to expose him, not just to me, but to the art world that fed Pierre's ego. That's when the nightmare escalated. Pierre, cornered, turned vicious. He had connections, old money from Normandy nobility, ties to influential figures who could make problems disappear. One night, as Luc drove back from an assignment in the Alps, his car veered off the winding roads near Annecy. The police called it an accident. Brake failure on slick mountain paths. Fog rolling in from Lake Geneva. But I knew better. When I arrived at the hospital in Geneva, Switzerland's border a mere hour away, the doctor pulled me aside in the sterile hallway, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry bees. "Mr. Moreau," he said gravely, his Swiss-German accent clipped, "your friend didn't die from the crash alone. There were traces of a sedative in his system, enough to impair judgment. And the brakes, tampered with. It's homicide." The words hung in the air, cold as the alpine wind. Luc, my brother in spirit, gone because of Elise's affair. Pierre had orchestrated it, I was sure, hiring some shadowy mechanic from the underbelly of Lyon's immigrant districts, where favors were traded like counterfeit euros. The police investigation stalled. Pierre's alibis were ironclad, witnesses paid off. Elise wept at the funeral, held in a quaint church in the Croix-Rousse hill, where silk workers once plotted revolutions, but her tears rang hollow. Had she known? Suspected? The doubt gnawed at me. Grief morphed into rage, a slow burn that consumed my days. I quit my job, retreating to our family cottage in the Beaujolais vineyards north of Lyon. The rolling hills, dotted with ancient stone villages and vines heavy with Gamay grapes, became my sanctuary and war room. Seasons shifted, winter's frost mirroring my icy resolve, spring's blooms mocking my barren heart. I delved into our family history, uncovering letters from my grandfather during the resistance. Tales of betrayal and retribution against collaborators. "Revenge is patient," one faded missive read. It became my mantra. Elise begged forgiveness, moving back to her parents' home in Aix-en-Provence, where bougainvillea climbed sun-baked walls and markets buzzed with the aroma of olives and herbs. Her family, old Provençal stock with ties to the wine trade, pressured her to reconcile. "Think of the children we could adopt," her mother pleaded over phone calls that I ignored. But adoption? After this? No. My motive crystallized, not just for Luc, but for the generational chain of abandonment. My mother's flight, my father's silence, now this. I would break it, but on my terms. Side characters emerged from the shadows, each with their own depths. Marie, Luc's ex-girlfriend, a fiery journalist from Brittany, contacted me. Her Celtic roots fueled a fierce loyalty. She had loved Luc deeply, their breakup amicable, but painful. Pierre's untouchable. She warned over a café au lait in a Parisian bistro, the Eiffel Tower looming like a judgmental sentinel. But I have files, emails, photos from his past affairs. Her motivation? Justice for Luc, and perhaps a scoop to revive her stalled career amid France's cutthroat media landscape. Then there was my sister, Claire, living in Strasbourg with her EU bureaucrat husband. She embodied the family's moral dilemmas. Practical, always weighing consequences. "Antoine, revenge will destroy you," she said during a tense Christmas visit, snow blanketing the Vosges mountains. Her own secret, a hidden affair years ago, confessed only to me, born from her husband's neglect. It humanized her, made her pleas ring with hypocrisy and empathy. "Power struggles tear families apart," she urged. But I saw her as complicit in our clan's silence. And Pierre himself, arrogant but not without cracks. His motivation? Preservation of his empire. Divorced twice, he collected lovers like artworks, discarding them when inconvenient. But beneath the veneer, whispers of insecurity. A father who disowned him for choosing art over law. A brother lost to addiction in the banlieues of Paris. My plan unfolded methodically, a psychological chess game. I befriended Pierre under a false identity. Alexandre Lefebvre, a wealthy collector from Geneva. We met at art auctions in Monaco, the Mediterranean sparkling under casino lights. I flattered him, invested in his gallery, gaining access to his world. Vivid evenings in Lyon's Bouchons, savoring Andouillette and Beaujolais Nouveau, where conversations turned intimate. Women are muses, he confided once, cigar smoke curling in the dim light. But they complicate things. I planted seeds of doubt, anonymous tips to his investors about financial irregularities, falsified provenances on paintings, skimmed profits. His gallery faltered, whispers spreading through the art scene like mist over the Rhone. Elise, drawn back by guilt, reconnected with me sporadically. Our encounters were charged. A stolen kiss in the Parc de la Tête d'Or. Autumn leaves crunching underfoot, her tears mixing with rain. I never wanted this, she whispered. But her betrayal fueled my fire. Tension built as Pierre unraveled. Paranoia set in. He accused staff, changed locks. I revealed my identity at a gala in the Opéra de Lyon, chandeliers glittering like stars. You killed Luc, I hissed in his ear amid the swirl of gowns and tuxedos. His face paled, the orchestra's strings swelling dramatically. The climax came in the Jura Mountains during a reconciliation weekend Elise orchestrated. Snow fell softly on pine forests, the air crisp with wood smoke from chalets. Pierre arrived, invited by her in a desperate bid to confess and end the cycle. Family gathered. My father, frail but stern. Claire, anxious. Marie, hidden with evidence. Confrontation in the lodge, flames crackling in the hearth. You sedated him, tampered with the car, I accused, voice steady. Pierre denied, but Marie produced recordings. Hired thugs confessing for immunity. Elise broke. I knew he was dangerous, but I didn't think. Betrayal layered upon betrayal. Power struggled ensued. Pierre lunged, a hidden knife from his hunting days glinting. We grappled, crashing into furniture, the room a whirlwind of shouts and falling snow outside. My father intervened, his old strength surprising, disarming Pierre. Moral dilemma peaked. Kill him or let justice prevail. I chose the latter, but not without cost. As police arrived, sirens echoing through the valleys, Pierre sneered, "You'll regret this." Resolution was tragic satisfaction. Pierre imprisoned, his empire crumbled. Elise and I divorced. She moved south, haunted by guilt, adopting a child alone, breaking the infertility curse in solitude. I scattered Luc's ashes by the lake, wind carrying them like freed spirits. My family mended fractiously. Claire confessed her secrets. My father softened. But revenge's price? Isolation. I wandered Lyon's streets, rain washing away sins, wondering if fortresses were meant to stand alone. Yet in spring, as cherry blossoms bloomed along the rivers, a quiet peace settled. The cycle broken, trauma avenged. Not with blood, but with truth's slow, inexorable blade.